Well, hello and welcome. Today I'm going to be doing another painting commission, and this is going to be a wet on wet painting starting with a black canvas. The scene that I'm working with is a really beautiful one. It's a moonrise from Palm Beach, Florida. Actually, it looks a little bit like a sunrise, but I'm told it's the moon. And so I'm gonna try and get kind of that like night sky feeling with the really bright light coming through the clouds. And I think for this, the black canvas is gonna be a good place to start. So I prepped this with just a layer of black gesso and then a layer of black paint, which is now dried. I just wanted this to be really nice and smooth and dark to start with, and I think that will give me the best, this kind of smoothest sky gradient that I can get here. I'm going to start by putting down a piece of tape because I want to mask off the water layer, or the waterline, separate from the sky, and kind of work on the sky by itself first. So I'm going to go right about here. This is going to be, this line's going to be the, oops, try and get this nice and straight though. So I'm just going to measure with this, measure with this. Let's try again. Okay. I'll wrap it around the corner there. That's actually better. So here, and here, nice and level. Double check there and there. Yep, okay. And I've got, yeah, so a beautiful sky, some water which is kind of dark, and that palm tree in the foreground, which I think the palm tree is gonna look great. But yeah, it's a pretty dark image overall, but the dark is what's gonna really make the light really pop in this. So yeah. So I'm starting there with that tape, and then I'm going to put down a layer of oil, which is going to act like a liquid clear for this. And for that, I'm going to use some walnut oil and a little bit of a walnut Alkyd medium, which will just make it dry a little bit faster. I like walnut oil for this over linseed oil because it's a little bit thinner, so I don't have to add a thinner to it. And this medium will actually help it dry a little bit faster. So just mix that in. And it's good to be back in the studio. Though everything is a little bit out of place. So I'm just gonna mix this quickly with a knife. Just make sure it's all blended in there. And to start with, I'm only gonna apply this on the top. I'll probably apply this and then even wipe it off a little bit too. I don't want a very thick layer here at all. This is just something to work into. So covered it up. Just move back and forth a little bit. And get this to kind of fill in evenly. I'm just going to take a cloth now, wipe off anything that's extra. You really need just kind of a minimal amount on here. Just makes the paint slide. Now I can put some colors in. So I'm going to mix up a couple colors for this. I'm going to start with the yellow and just go, let's see, I'll switch knives. I'm going to make a little bit of room. I don't really need this walnut oil on my palette anymore, so I'm just going to clean it off. I may use a little more later, but just want the space for the colors first without making very oily paint. So I've got kind of a bright yellow, and I've got a little bit of kind of a peach color, which I think is going to be some cad red light. And for the yellow, we'll do cad yellow, maybe a little bit of white into that as well. I could use the cad yellow light, but I feel like it's actually a little bit of a warmer yellow. Start with those. So I'm gonna use, kind of want to use a smaller brush, but not too small. Maybe this is a good medium-sized brush. Just gonna clean it up a little bit. It feels a little sticky. Okay. And I'm gonna start right kind of in the middle here. Maybe I'll even go a little bit of just direct cadmium yellow too. Let's go. And now just kind of sweeping in here and making a nice light area. I'll put the a little bit more in as I go, but just start kind of forming this area here. There's going to be some clouds here too, but right now I'm just focused on really this brightest center area. I'm going to take a little bit of this cad red light. Bring that into. Starts to bring out all that brightness. A little bit more yellow in the middle. And if you keep layering these, it'll actually get even stronger. Okay, that's probably the brightest area there. I do think I'll come back in and do kind of a second layer with it. But it's a good place to start. I put in a couple of these little cloud wisps that I'm seeing that are just lit up by same light here. Okay. And then a little more of this red, actually. I'm kind of seeing this kind of going all the way along this waterline here. Just a little bit. So kind of sweeping it in, sweeping it out. But it's nice having the tape down because I don't have to worry about getting into the water. I think if it were the sunlight, it might actually reflect in the water a little bit more. But this is a little bit more subtle, and the water looks fairly dark. So I'm gonna try to honor that. That's what I'm doing here. So I'm gonna have got some clouds that are kind of sneaking in here, and I'm gonna try see what happens if I remove a little bit of the towel. Let me actually start with a fresh towel though, because I don't want to. Yeah, just kind of bring those little clouds that are sneaking in here. Clean this brush out a little bit. Okay. I'm gonna mix up a sort of medium gray for some of these clouds now. I'm gonna put those on with a knife. So for my gray, I'm gonna get some of that out. Use some cobalt blue and a little bit of orange that I already have out here. Since those are complements, they will make a gray. To get the right balance. And I'm also looking at sort of the progression of the colors of these clouds. So I think that the clouds a little bit lower are a little bit more orange. And as they go up, they're going to be a little bit more blue. So I'm going to start push. I'm going to go a little more orange. Let's start there. Start just putting this in. Try and use the bottom edge of this knife mostly. So layer these in. There's going to be some highlights on this too, but I'm mostly working with the darker things first. Okay, I've got that. Just gonna kind of brush things in and out as I go here. Make use of that liquid layer that I've got. Go a little bit bluer. there. I'm not sure I love the shape of this brush for that, so I'm gonna just switch to a different one. I like kind of like make these little wispy lines. I think it's a really good brush for like doing hair and fur sometimes, but a little is nice with clouds, but not quite the feel I'm looking for here. It's a nice way to create a lot of subtlety though, especially with dark colors, dark shapes. Okay. Okay, well, going a little bit lighter, just adding just a touch of white. And maybe a little bit more blue. Just go all the way up here. Let some of this white kind of be streaky in here. Should get a little bit more paint out. You don't need much paint when you're painting this way. It's easy to get kind of too thick, but I'm gonna try and not have that happen. Like that. So I've got the clouds in. I think a little bit more cloud. A little more cloud. Right in here. Kind of light it up. It's like these variations are what gives the clouds a lot of shape. Too dark. A little too orange, but kind of a nice. Still not going into the brightest. colors that we could. Just trying to kind of build it up slowly. I'm mixing in the knife and the brush. And figuring out what's here, you know. Gonna start bringing in. Oh, I'm losing my tape. I didn't even notice how long it's been peeling. Just put it back on. I think almost done with it anyway. Okay. So, hang in there, tape. That's not the brush I was using. These clouds really do a lot. Lots of different things. Take just a little white. Just actually mix up a little bit more. Gotta go a little more blue. The further I'm getting from the moon, I think it's getting a little bit more blue. Keep this side a little darker in general, though. I'm not gonna. Worry quite as much about filling this in too much. I'm gonna have a palm tree in here. There we go. Okay. And then I'm gonna start putting in a tone for the sky. Let's see. That's gonna be. Go with cobalt and ultramarine together, I think. Make a little space there. I'm gonna try not to get too much white in with this. I'm gonna wash this brush out really well first. So I'm gonna put it on with the knife and I'm gonna sort of blend it in with the brush. Knife off better too. Add a layer of blue, then add a layer of it's gonna be really nice and blue. Make a little bit more of that maybe. A little cobalt. A little ultramarine. For this I'm just gonna go across basically the top of this. And then I'm going to blend it down. And I'm going to put a little bit in here too. I'm seeing that. I'm seeing how. So I'll do that. Swap back to clean brush. And so I'm just gonna lightly brush this in. So I'm gonna go across it. And go across it again a little lower. It's like about kind of getting this blue tone in, but I'm not making the whole sky like light up blue. The ultramarine is a good color to do this with because it is, it's a transparent color, so the black will show through it. The cobalt's opaque, but I just have a little bit of that, so it's working a little bit similar to the way the white would. Just do this gently. Patiently. Push it in a little bit to this cloud area. It's okay to let these things kind of blend up a little bit. Especially here, because I'm going to have a tree in front of it, so I don't want a lot of hard edges there. Kind of distract from that. Just kind of let it really build up. I'm looking at the picture, seeing kind of the flow of the clouds. I really love painting clouds. It's just always very satisfying. These little wispy bits that are kind of peeling off here. These kind of softer wet on wet style paintings do tend to be a little bit more brushy. Not quite as much knife work, but they're very fun to make. Okay. That's pretty nice. I'll bring this down here, just with this waterline. To exist a little bit more. It's looking pretty nice. I like that. I like that a lot. Okay. Just softening some of these bits where I'm seeing the plain black coming through. Just kind of a little opportunity to mix in. Okay. That's quite a sky. I like that. Okay. And I think it might be getting close to time to pull the tape off, but I'm going to do a little bit more with this brightest area first. Make sure I got my knife nice and clean. I don't want to bring blue into this sky at all. Here, not in the brightest area. So I'm going to actually get a little yellow ochre even. Little cad yellow light hiding in the back there. Okay, I'll put this up front just so that I don't want to mix it in with anything else. Okay, so clean knife, little yellow ochre, little cadmium yellow light. Just going to go in here, form this area a little bit more. It's almost so many clouds, you can't really see what's happening, but I think I'm going to do that and add some white too. There we go, just on top of that. And then do a little bit more here. These are kind of these gentle little shapes of these clouds. Just these little edges. And then I just take a small brush to that. Use this filbert actually. This is a nice soft round brush. Just make those little cloud edges. I'm going kind of along the top of them and softening that, and then letting the bottom stay a little bit more sort of ragged, I guess. I don't know. A little bit sharper. So I think I can do this kind of a couple of times and then just really kind of work that bright area in. Just grabbed a little paint on my brush too. Leaving that actual moon area nice and thick. Gonna further get away from this, just letting it blend in a little bit more. Okay, and I want to keep going a little bit down here. I've got part's a little bit more orange. I'm gonna just keep working with similar shapes in, but a little bit more orange. And this nice thing is doing this with a knife. It lets me kind of get some thicker paint on here, and that thick paint is gonna be brighter than the thin paint. I think even light up this waterline just a little bit more. Okay. Do the same thing here. These clouds, all their different shapes, kind of blend in here, do different things. looks pretty good, I think. I like that. Okay. I'll just soften this just a little here. Just trying to get these kind of closest clouds to not look too flat, I guess. I don't know. Just get them to really, really glow. Kind of twisting the brush as I go through here. Yeah, that's a good sky. Okay. I think that might be it for the sky. It may come back in a little bit more, but I think it might be time to do some other things. Right. I think it's time. It's satisfying though. This. I'm really juggling today. Let's see. Yeah, so that looks pretty nice. And I'm gonna take on this waterline, which is nice and crisp right now. I really like that. Yeah. So for that, it's a little bit green blue. I'm gonna use. Oops, I think this Viridian is old. Needs to go. Maybe not. Okay. A little Viridian, a little ultramarine, and maybe a little more ultramarine. I'm gonna go. It does have a little note of green to it, but I'm gonna let it go a little more blue, especially further away. As I get a little closer, I might go a little bit more toward go a little bit more toward green, but I'm gonna start it less green. And for now, I'm gonna try and stay a little off of this line here. Give just a little bit of breathing room. I'm probably gonna soften this edge eventually, but for now, I'm just gonna try to stay neat. Here I don't have that liquid layer underneath. Probably gonna add a little oil as I go, but not need quite as much here. Find for sharper details, sometimes a little bit of a drier surface is better. As you want to bring kind of a little bit more focus to what's close. Okay, so I've got that. I'm gonna add just a touch of this yellow now. And there it really gets a lot more green. And I'm gonna put this little reflection in. It's like almost kind of barely there. It's not as strong as it would be if it was sunlight. That's pretty good. Okay. We'll get a little more ultramarine. And maybe actually a little orange. Dull it down just a little, lighten it just a little. I'm just gonna work that in here too. Got a little bit more light right here. Just kind of mix this in. Let it kind of sparkle off the canvas. A little more blue. And it's actually kind of a grayer green blue as I get further away. Let's go to this. Won't be too gray, let's see. Maybe go a little greener. A little bluer. Brush this out and just go ahead. Smooth this. I'm gonna still try to be careful around that line. Keep it nice and crisp. Probably a little light. Actually, I'm gonna smooth this out first. Let this be something I build into a little bit more. More of the water texture that I'm looking for. I like this brush. These bristle brushes they've got kind of a stiff bristle, which is nice. They really get those brush strokes. You can use them to kind of create these effects like the waves. This one's gonna have a real bravery test in it. Comes to putting in that palm tree. Okay. Got a little sand up here. And because of the particulars of this lighting, sand is quite a bit lighter, but it's actually also a bit green looking. I'm going to add just a little bit of this unbleached titanium into my watercolor that I had. Just sort of put this beach in here. Maybe just a little yellow too. Kind of like this roughness here. This will fade it in too, but not a bad way to get it started. This in here. Nice thing is I can decide kind of how rough or smooth I want this to look too. So if I brush it less, then it will be a little bit rougher. Maybe actually a little bit more appropriate for a sand texture. Or if I brush it more, it gets kind of soft. end right here is a little bit harsh in a way that I don't think I want it to be. So I'm going to wash this brush out again and kind of blend it a little bit, but I don't want it to get too white into the water, so that's why going in with a clean brush is going to help that be a little better. I love these colors though. I think this is, I knew that this was going to be a fun one to paint as soon as I saw it. Okay. So here, I just want this edge to be a little softer. So I'm going to just run my brush right along it. A little bit of paint out and over here. There we go. That's a little better. It just has a little bit more of a quiet look that way. Okay. Alright. I think it might be time for the Bravery test. And I think that actually this is going to work out great because I'm going to use a knife for it, mostly. And I think it's going to cause, have a really nice crisp look. I'm going to do this nice and slow and carefully. I'll use this one. I like this one for tree trunks a lot. For this, I'm going to go fairly dark. I think I might use, I'll do burnt umber and ultramarine. And mixing that in, I'm going to have a little, it's going to be a little bit of light to it. It's going to go a little darker than what I've got going on here. Just before I do this, I want to think about where things are gonna land. So I want these branches to kind of go up this way. So I think I'm actually putting a little dot there, and I'm gonna have another branch going this way, up here, and then the trunk itself kind of curves down like this. So I'm gonna actually just start right where my blob is, and start putting in this edge. I'm going to flip my knife the other way. About doing this is you definitely have to be decisive. So there's not a lot of redos here. This is gonna go right where I put it because I can't move it once it's down. This would mess up all my beautiful sky work. So put that in. Filling this in here. The trunk is a little darker at the bottom here, so I'm going to add a little more of this ultramarine in here and sort of cover up my sandy beach. up here, getting kind of warmer browns. Maybe bring in a little burnt sienna. Just a little. Maybe a little of this light green too. Having some different colors on the knife, kind of mixing in. It's a nice way to get it to feel like it's lighting up a little bit. There we go. And we'll do something with this ground too, but for now that's fine. Another little palm right here. That one's very dark, but I'm gonna wait till I do the branches on this one and then come back in and think about that. Oh, that is not what I wanted. Almost picked up some phthalo blue, which is a good color also, but it's not what I want right now. Alright, so I'm gonna go start putting in some of these branches. I'm gonna use this like burnt sienna mix that I had started with here. I think that's working pretty well. So I'm gonna grab just a touch of linseed oil for this. I want it to go on pretty smooth. A little more ultramarine too. But yeah, the oil, a little extra oil will help the curves go in nice. I'm gonna go right now. I'm just putting in the branches. Go ahead and add the leaves after. Okay. That's a good one. We'll get a little more paint mixed up here. This feels a little scary, but I'm going to be putting all the leaves on here, so really I'm kind of just making a map for myself right now. Pretty good. Okay, I think that's a good map. Now going out from these, I'm gonna just take my knife. I'm gonna pull it down very gently. Some of these I'll put a little more detail into, but I'm going into the darkest ones first. here. If I want these to be a little longer, I just pull them out a little bit longer. This one kind of tapers. I think it's twisting toward the top, so the top of it actually appears much skinnier. And I've got a couple of lighter ones. I've got this big wide palm here. I'm gonna mix up a little bit. Let's go. I'm getting a little lighter now. So I'm gonna do alizarin viridian and still some of this burnt umber. A little bit of another color, but it's actually kind of nice there. Okay. A little bit off of the line here on purpose because I want to leave this sort of, I guess the inner stem is kind of lit up on this. I'll probably even add a little bit of a highlight on it, but figured why make it dark only to make it light in a minute. Globs out of there. And then up at the very top of that, there's a little bit of light hitting. Just bring that in. Kind of helps it pop off the background a little bit. It's a pretty effect. Another dark one over here, kind of similar. Try and keep an eye on the angles of these. This one's kind of shooting up a little bit more. Kind of following that with my knife. There's actually another one of those right next to it. Just fill that in. Flip the knife over and do just a little. Those like little spikes. Probably go around and do more with those after, but just kind of bump the contrast up. Okay. And here I'm getting a little bit brighter. This is a little bit more yellow, a little bit more orange. Still dark though, so. That's probably the brightest. And here, a little darker. Okay, sky here. Also kind of a darker one, but with a light, almost an orange yellow tip. Just these little details to how certain parts are catching the light is what kind of makes it really come together. Keeps it from kind of looking a little cartoony. See. It's pretty nice. I'm gonna put in a little bit of that light just on this one stem here. Just kind of catches that. It really only actually happens on this one too. Okay, cool. And I think I'm gonna add its a little friend here. Since trees need friends, right? Okay. So this is gonna be pretty dark. I'm gonna go just a touch orange though. Okay. This one here kind of goes like this. Let's get another one. This kind of curves a little bit away from it. A little more of that, a little more of that. More of that. Let's see. Go a little darker. parts in. Let that come through a little bit too. Still a little more green. I'm going to bring in a little bit of ground here for this set of plants. Just a little bit of this orange on the edge of the soil one too. Just take my brush. Somehow ended up on the floor. Just smooth this in here too. Pretty good. I think I'm gonna do, there's a little bit more detail on this trunk area here. Where it's sort of like the bark sort of peels away a little bit. I want to get that in there. Could be some coconuts, I don't know. Can't really tell right now. Give it a step back. I'm feeling pretty good about that. I think like there's more detail I could add in the foreground. Maybe I will just to brighten it up just a little bit more. Just a little more variety. And get some more viridian. Some viridian, a little bit of cad yellow light. I think will probably be what I need. I'm gonna just pop in these little dots. I'm kind of seeing. Do those. We'll go a bit darker around them. Just kind of let some of these sort of sparkly looking plants and do what they do. Go just a little bit softer here. Just a little darker there. Kind of like put that light in and then cover it up a little bit. This creates a little bit more depth. Even bring a little of this orange in too. Kind of playing with it a little bit, just deciding how much green I really want here. It's like, first I thought some nice little bright highlights would be good. I thought maybe a little softer would be better. Yeah, that's about right. I'll go in here, just gonna bring in those original little tiny bright bits that I had. And I'm gonna kind of tap it a little bit here. I don't want to blend these in too much, but I want them to kind of just sparkle a little bit like I see them. Just a little. Okay. Well, I like that. Okay. I'm trying to think. I kind of want this to feel just a little bit more silhouette-like. It's like a little bit too grabby right now. Simplify it a little bit. Yeah, it's a little softer is good. Keeping the little streaks in there, but not quite as many little like lines. Bring this one up a little higher. Kind of like that shape a little better that way. Getting pretty close, I think. This is a pretty quick painting, but it's kind of the benefit if you can do like a fully wet on wet painting. It is quick. A little bit of that sparkle in here. Why not, right? It's got just the magical scene to it. crazy. Should I have not done that? I don't know. Seemed like it'd be fun. Yeah, I think that might be that. Maybe just a little, you know? Just a little here. Not too much, just the right amount. I think we're close. A couple little highlights in these clouds in a similar way. I'll try and behave, not overdo them. But I think sometimes this is a little nicer now that that's set up a little bit. What I don't want to do is mix the blue into the yellow, so I'm being kind of careful about that. Just blend just a little bit too. I'll have to watch out for my tree now. I don't want to mess up my tree. So that's all with paint. But just a little of these wisps here. And make kind of similar shapes as I move around blending these two. Gonna keep that same rhythm these clouds have. Okay. I think that might be a painting. I'm gonna go ahead and sign it. Alright. Well, I hope you've enjoyed this, and I hope you have a wonderful day or night, or whatever you're off to next.